rap Jesus. My team go hard. My team rap Jesus. We about to go far. We about to go far.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fervently Creation and Marketplace Ministry. This is where we love talking to people to figure out what it is that you're doing outside of the four walls of the church. How are you actually spreading the gospel? And so though we talk to those that are in Marketplace Ministry, I just love talking to people just love God and loves talking about God, right? So if you are interested in being part of the show, I would love to have you on. You can do that by going to my website at www.ferventlycreations.com. And I don't know what's going on with this stuff today. So anyway, but there we go. So www.ferventlycreations.com. We're having technical difficulties today, y'all. But anyway, so with that, Fervently Creations, one thing I say every show is that you have to remember that there are 5 gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you. Sometimes the only one that they're going to pay attention to is you. Sometimes you're going to be the first one to grab their attention. Sometimes what comes out of your mouth is going to be what makes them curious about God or curious about the relationship that you have. It may make them want to have a deeper relationship or relationship with God, period. So once you have their attention, once you are in their area of influence to where your sphere of influence, whether it's education, whether it's business, whether it's media, whether it's entertainment, whether it's politics, whether it's family, no matter what it is, whatever mountain he's called you to, once you have those people in your area to where you have their attention, what are you saying? Is your words fruitful? Is it something that is going to be able to plant a seed or water a seed that someone else has planted, right? And so with that, I just want people to be mindful. Hey, we are all charged with the Great Commission. We are all charged to go therefore and go out and create disciples so they can go out and create disciples as well. So how are you doing it? A lot of times we feel, well, I don't have a title. You don't need a title. You don't need a title to go and to be an advocate for Christ. You don't need a title to be an ambassador for Christ. The way that you show up authentically you, but the way you show up to people, the way you present yourself, and they watch you. They watch and say, you know what? I like the way she carried herself. I wonder how she get to that mindset. I wonder how he moved that way. I wonder how he's so successful in business. I wonder how. And then that's when you can tell them, hey, you know what? It's because I spent time in prayer. I spent time reading. It was times that I did not know what to do. And I had to lean and depend on nobody but God. Or you can tell me, you know what? This whole thing, it was not me. It was God. God did this. It was not me. And so that is one of the things that I love just talking to people and just kind of saying, hey, where's your head? What are you doing? What are you doing once you're outside of the church, right? And so the other thing that we do, of course, once it comes to Marketplace Ministry, I want to tell you about some things that I have going on as well. One of the things that I have, what is going on here? Hold on. There we go. All right. So one of the things is I have my show my perfume line, Fervently Intense. Fervently Intense is a perfume base that is a citrus base, but it also has the frankincense and myrrh in it as well. So I have lotion, I have body wash. It should be on Amazon as well. You can go to Amazon or you can go to my website, www.ferventlycreations.com, and get your bottle today. Also, I have my book, Fervently Intense. So with Fervently Intense, what happened with this, God began to start asking me, like, hey, once you're praying, you're praying and you're using ancient weaponry. You're using the things that was done back in the day. Like, you're using arrows and stuff, and things have evolved. Why isn't your prayer life evolving? Why are you not shifting the way that you pray? And so with that, I began to think, as someone that has a military background, a combat veteran, that I had to think and say, you know what? Once I'm praying, like, what is my prayer language looking like? Because our words carry power. And so me knowing that my words carry power, once I'm doing spiritual warfare, I want to make sure that I am demonstrating power, that my words are carrying a big punch, that is carrying something great in there. So, I'm not shooting arrows. I'm shooting missiles. I'm not calling for a shield and stuff like. Hey, what I'm using is airstrikes. I'm calling an airstrike on the enemy camp. Like, I'm going in. I'm truly warring. I'm at full-blown war once I do my spiritual warfare prayers. And so this right here, this book, it gives you the revelation behind it. The other thing that this book does is that it does help you with that language. It helps you shift your prayer language. So it has about five or six prayers in the back of it that is going to help you with that, to show you just, hey, how can I use this, and how can I be specific and strategic in my spiritual warfare prayer? So if you have not already, make sure you go to Amazon and you can pick the book up, Fervently Intense in Pursuit of Prayer, by none other than me, Letitia Shear. Another thing, I have anthology out called I'm Not Okay. So with this, the vision is to collaborate with other people that have healed through, or in their process of healing. I understand is levels to certain things. It's levels to depression, right? And so what happens is, a lot of us, we have been through depression, we've been through anxiety, we've just been through grief, we've been through a lot of things that at one point of time we were not okay. And so this book right here is something to use to where we can go evangelize and talk to other people and just say, you know what, hey, let me tell you how I got through depression. Let me tell you how I got through the grief. And once I say grief, it could be grieving a relationship. It could have just been, the divorce. It could be grieving the loss of something. It could be grieving the loss of your finances, right? So how did you get through that? How did you overcome? How did you go from I'm not okay to where, hey, I'm going to be okay, or I am okay? When did you say, you know what, hey, I got this? God, I don't have it. Maybe God got it. But either way, I'm going to be okay. And so even with this anthology, I realized not everyone is a writer, right? Some people are like, hey, I don't write, but our stories are still powerful. And so even to be able to reach them with this anthology, not only are we going to do the writing portion of it, we're also going to do a virtual summit. So those that sign up with this, they will also have they'll have their chapter in the book, but they'll also have a segment in our virtual summit that will air on Amazon and Roku as well. So that way we're able to get your message out. Your voice is heard. Your voice is powerful, and we want everyone to be able to share their story, share their testimony, and help others as well. So if you want to be included in that, go to my website, www.ferventlycreations.com. You can click on that for more information, or you can email me and I can send you out some more information as well. Also, I have another anthology as well. I got two anthologies coming up back to back. Prisoner of War in the Mind anthology. This is one to where I want to talk and figure out, hey, where did your mindset shift come in at? A lot of times the reason why some of us are still struggling in our finances, the reason why we're still struggling in our relationships, the reason why we're struggling in just our relationship with God, or just whatever it is, our business, right? One of the reasons why we're struggling, or we're stagnant. Not so much you're struggling, we're just stagnant. It's because our mindset has not shifted. But some of us along the way, we have realized, hey, this right here occurred because I finally shifted my perspective on how I view things. And our perspective at the time is our reality. And so once your perspective change about the thing, once your view change of the thing, and then once you're able to get vision on whatever it is. Now you're able to go to that next level. Now you're able to go to that next step. So it's some people that are where you used to be, and they need help to get where you are. Though you're probably still trying to strive and get to another level, it's somebody that their prayer is just to get to where you're at. How did you do it? What was it that shifted in your mindset that said, you know what? I'm no longer robbing Peter to pay Paul. No longer am I going to continue to let this joker sit on my couch. No longer will I allow or be the punching bag or allow this person to hit me. No longer will I stand in my own way. What was it that made you just say, you know what? A change has to come, and the change has to start with me. What was that change? What was it in your mind? And so with this anthology, again, not everybody is a reader. So we still want your voice to be heard. We still want you to be able to reach the person that you're supposed to reach. You know, a lot of people's destiny is counting on one man's obedience. And so with that, let's make sure your voice is heard. Make sure that the right people is hearing it. Whoever's supposed to hear it. And so with this anthology, you also get a speaking opportunity to be part of a virtual summit. So you get a chapter in the anthology. You also get a position to where you're able to speak at the virtual summit. Now, both anthologies include the opportunity for you to be able to come to the conference. So Prisoner War in the Mind Conference. This is a conference to where we are doing marketplace ministry. We're making awareness towards mental health in the Christian community. And we're talking about mindset changes, but also let's do some deliverance as well, right? And so with that, I would love for you to meet me in Huntsville, Alabama, June 21st to June 23rd, where we will be doing the next Prisoner of War in the Mind conference. This conference is going to be amazing. 3-day conference. The first night is our Kingdom Networking Gala. We need to know who labor amongst us. So we will have a networking scavenger hunt to make sure you know, hey, who's in the room? Who's in the room? Because it might be someone in the room that you need to meet, or it might be somebody in the room that they're looking for someone that is in your field. They're looking for someone in your expertise. They're looking for someone that have your knowledge, your wisdom, and understanding that they can glean from. So with that, we'll do our Kingdom Networking Gala. Day 2, we have several speakers for you, but the night of day 2, that's what I'm excited about. We will be doing mass deliverance that night, and then on Saturday, then I will be the closeout speaker for the conference. So if you're not busy, if you don't have anything on your calendar, make sure you save the date, June 21st, June 23rd. You can go ahead and purchase tickets. Tickets are on sale currently now on the website at www.ferventlycreations.com. So I look forward to seeing each and every last one of you there. Now, y'all, let's get into the word. So our word today is going to come from 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 20 through 23. It says, then David got up from the ground, washed himself, put on lotion, and changed his clothes. He went to the tabernacle and worshiped the Lord. After that, he returned to the place and was served food and ate. His advisors were amazed. We don't understand you, they told him. While the child was living, you wept and refused to eat. But now that the child is dead, you have stopped your mourning and are eating again. David replied, I fasted and wept while the child was alive, for I said, perhaps the Lord will be gracious to me. Listen, sometimes, we will stay in a posture of mourning a little too long for some things. And what I love about this was that during that time, David was just like, okay, this is what I'm pleading and I'm praying for God for. And once his answer was no, once his answer was still no on that, after he prayed, after he fasted, after he went into the morning, he wouldn't eat, all this stuff, the answer was still no. Sometimes God's answers to us is no. But at that time, we got to do like David did. We have to pick up ourselves. We have to change out of change our garment, get out of the baggy clothes, quit looking a mess and say, you know what? Hey, God said no to this. He must have a good reason, and I'm going to drive forward. And so sometime with us, we don't move forward. we'll sit there in that, and I don't understand why God didn't do this, and I don't understand why she didn't do this, or he didn't do this, that, and another, and I don't understand why I can't have this. Like, we're throwing a temper tantrum in the spirit. And so we have to stop going into those pity parties and self-pity parties, or just prolonging more, and just say, you know what, all right, God, I don't understand it, but I'm gonna drive for it. Apparently you have better for me. And he did have better for him, because right after that, then he was pregnant. They got pregnant with Solomon, right? Ended up being king, full of wisdom. And so sometimes we have to just say, you know what, I cannot die in my situation. And a lot of times we will die in a situation after God has told us no. We will die after we have been mourned, after the mourning of a relationship. We will die in the situation after the not even just after the mourning, but we'll also die in the situation after a loss of finances and stuff. And so my question to you is, how did you get back up? This right here, David got back up, and he returned and said, the child is dead. He said, I fasted, I wept while the child was alive, for perhaps the Lord will be gracious for me and let the child live. But why should I fast when he is dead? Can I bring him back again? I will go to him one day, but he cannot return to me. And so that is the thing. It's like, okay, you know what? Especially once it comes into the grieving of family members. And a lot of times when someone is grieving family members, I just kind of be like, I'm not sure if I'm the right person to talk to that. Because I'm just like, hey, they live their life or whatever, to where they end up going into heaven. They were saved. They're going to go. You're going to see them again. This is not our forever home. This is not where we're supposed to be, right? This is just a place of just transitioning. This is where we're passing through. This is a place that helps prepare us to be able to live in the kingdom. And right. So, it's just some of those things just you got to just say, you know what? Hey, it will return to me. It'll come back to me. This person can't return to me. I will go to it one day. And so maybe I lost in my finances, but I'll get into a position to where I'll be able to receive more of a blessing later. I'll be able to get something later on in life. And so sometimes we get stuck on the no's. When God say no, we'll get stuck there. And so I want to encourage you, if God has given you a no in this season, don't get stuck in the no. Continue to strive, continue to push, whether it's in business, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your finances, whether it's, whether you was praying for a loved one or so, and God was just like, no, I'm bringing them on home with me. That's the best place to be anyway. So that's where I'm trying to get to. Don't grieve me. That's what I'm trying to get to. But no matter what it is, we have to say, you know what? Hey, I'm going to get to heaven. I'm going to get to heaven. So I got to continue to push forward. Don't get stuck. Everything you see right now is just temporary. It's temporary. So with that being said, we're going to bring up our guests, and I'm going to read this text one more time, and then we're going to see what our guests have to say about it. So the text says, after that, he returned to the place and was served food and ate. His advisors were amazed. We don't understand you, they told him. While the child was still living, you wept and refused to eat. But now that the child is dead, you have stopped your mourning and are eating again. David replied, I fasted and wept while the child was alive, for I said, perhaps the Lord will be gracious to me and let the child live. But why should I fast when he is dead? Can I bring him back again? I will go to him one day, but he cannot return to me. So we're going to bring up Miss Priscilla Bailey and see. Oh, here we go. Bring you up and see exactly what do you say about this verse?
Yeah, it's a verse that it's a long time ago now since I read about David. But yeah, it kind of shows the human condition, particularly I think in David's case, he got to a place where he just felt maybe he was above reproach at one point. And, he had fought all of his life, and then he was then given this title. And I do feel that once he got where he was, he just felt that he could do whatever he wanted to do. And then when it was brought to his attention that, you know, what he had done was sinful, um, he felt perhaps that he could try and turn things around, um, you know. But at the end of the day, God is God, isn't he? And you know, even in the New Testament, it says that the wages of sin is death, and ultimately, that's what came about in this situation.
Yes, yes, and you know, and sometimes we forget that the wages of sin is death on there. But I love how you said God is God, and so, and you know, sometimes we go forth and we make moves, whether it's murder or what to that extreme. But sometimes, you know, in our own life, sometimes the extreme is not that, but we make moves that are against the will of God for our lives, and God will kill that thing. You'll go and apply for a job that God didn't tell you to apply for. You know, you'll go and start a business that God didn't tell you to start. You'll get in
Yeah,
a marriage or a relationship that God didn't tell you to get in. You'll get into you know, just certain situations, link up with this a circle of people that God didn't tell you to link up with, and God will destroy it. Once I say destroy it, he could destroy it by now you didn't lost the job, you didn't lost the spouse, you didn't lost the finances that you got in a way that God didn't like, no, I wanted you to depend on me for this. This is not what I called you to do. You know, the ministry will fail. That this is not where I told you to start the ministry at, you know, or,
yeah,
you know, hey, you know, it's just certain things that will go forth. And we have to realize God is God. And so though we're looking at things in the now, God have a bigger plan. He have a bigger purpose for us. He have certain, we have to understand the times and season of God. And so even in the time and season, once we're birthing something into this world, even if it's, you know, a natural birth with the child, or whether it's, you know, you birthing a business or the job or whatever, it has to go forth in the season in which God has called forth it to be in. So we have to be mindful of that, because if not, what's going to happen? God is going to cut that thing off. It's going to die. You know, he will destroy it, because it's not of his will. It's not his will for you. It's not his, you know, his will for others. Or so, because, you know, a lot of times we're just looking like, you know, hey, well, this is what I want to do. No, everything that we're doing is bigger than us. It's bigger than us. This conversation that we're having right now is bigger than us. You know, the conversations that you're having, in, you know, once you meet a stranger in Walmart or wherever, sometimes it's bigger than that. Sometimes it's the thing to where he's just trying to plant that seed in you or whatever, and it goes bigger than that. So how are you allowing him to use those small situations or those other situations and stuff with him? So let's see. There we go. All right. So
right.
with that,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. So Priscilla, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Tell them a bit about yourself and who you are and what it is that you do.
It's on the camera. See if the camera being off. Priscilla Bailey. I'm from the UK, and I am a gospel artist who lives just outside of London. My background is in singing in churches and in choir, and I've only just recently become a solo artist, but I write my own songs, and I have many. I have an album, an EP. I'm working on my current album, which will be out next year, and I've just released a single called Heaven, featuring Charles Moret.
Awesome. So one thing I heard you say is that you write your own songs. When
Yeah.
did you learn that was a anointing that you had to be able to just flow and just write your own songs? Because not everybody do it. Some people can just sing, you know. And once I think about, you know, people speaking in tongues. That's how amazing I feel when someone say they write their own songs, because you have some people that can speak in tongues, and then you have other people that not only can speak it, they can interpret it, but you're able to not only sing, you're also able to write. So that is amazing anointing. When did you learn that you actually have the anointing as a psalmist to be able to write?
I believe that it's become a gradual thing. But I remember back in the year 2003, I believe it was, I kept getting the verse Psalm 45, where it says that the tongue is the pen of the ready writer. And I didn't really know what that meant. But as I, started to listen to God, yeah. So I was worshiping at home, and I just kept freestyling, and I could feel like the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and He was giving me a lot of melodies and harmonies, and I started to write from there. So yeah, it's been a long time that I've been writing, but in actual recording, I haven't really. I started recording about 2014, so it's been a long journey.
Wow. Wow. And so you said originally you started off in gospel choirs. So you started off with traditionally gospel choirs. What was it that made you shift to say, now it's time for me to go out on my own? Now it's time for me to be that solo artist. And what caused that shift?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how God works. But I just felt almost like a restlessness, because I've been in the choir since 2008, and I other than that, I'd been in trios and I'd been in outreach team at church, and I was always kind of like harmonizing and things with people. And I just felt that God was showing me that there is progression that He wants me to make. I need to get out at the front and start leading. And so I received a great opportunity to lead in choir, and I did that for about the last 3 years of me being in it. But then I then started to feel a restlessness again to start singing my own songs, and there was a lot of people that kept asking me, have I recorded anything? Have I got any CDs? That was back in the day when we had CDs. And yeah, so it just went from there. I mean, I prayed about it, and I just was given a chance to record at my friend's studio, and it kind of just went from there. It just was one step at a time. But yeah, I really felt there was an urgency to move out from the groups, and yeah, just say what God was inspiring me to say.
So would you say that God has this tendency to make us uncomfortable? And I promise you, I use this analogy with women in pregnancy a lot. But once it's time for us to push and go to that next level, just like a baby on the inside, there's no more room for me. So He makes the baby uncomfortable, and the baby begins to squirm and begins to kick until you realize, you know what, I have dilated, and I need to be pushing to my next level. So is that something that has frequently happened to you, just even outside of music, that you know that it's time for your shift to occur when you feel that restlessness, or is that unease, or like, it's this space right here it was good, and it nurtured me to a certain in a certain way, but now it's time for me to push to the next level? How do you describe those times in your life?
Yeah, it's exactly how I described it. It's almost like a feeling of either that you feel like you've outgrown what you're doing, that you've reached as far as you can get, or I believe that God can sometimes bring you visions, or have someone speak to you and say you should do this or go that way, and it might be something that you've pondered for a long time. So for me, that has happened definitely with my solo career, but also I work in healthcare as a speech and language therapist, or a pathologist, I think you call it in the US. And I used to work in care homes and in hospitals. And just recently, I've now become an independent speech and language therapist, and I've managed to land a couple of contracts. through the grace of God. So yeah, and it's come through just knowing that I know this, I know what I'm doing, I know that I can get results, and God has really encouraged me to kind of
Yeah.
step out into an area I've never known. It's unknown territory, and I guess it is stepping out in faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm learning to lean on Him, and He's just opening doors. So
Yeah. And I think it's good because, like you're saying, it's not only in your music, but even in, at first you're with the company. Now it's like, okay, now I need you to step out independent. And so it's like, as you're saying that, and you're saying it for a speech, for your, speech. I can't even pronounce that word for one. So I
speech
probably help.
pathologist.
Speech pathologist. So even in there, it's kind of like, it was the same thing. I see it as you're saying it. I still see that person that's in the choir, and then all of a sudden they're moving to the front, with the mic, and then all of a sudden it's just like the choir that was behind them is not even there anymore. And so the same thing is happening in your professional life as well. And your personal life with your music, just like, this is where I need you to start it, but I'm going to push you. Here was just to get you training, just to make sure that you understood and that you see how it worked, but I need to push you. And I think sometimes even in our personal, some roads and stuff that we travel, is that for us professional wise, I need you to see how it is to be an employee so I can make you an employer. And so now it's just like you're stepping out independent, but who's to say, hey, I'm not that, God's saying, hey, I'm fixing to make you a multi-million-dollar company, that now you're going to start having people up under you because your workload is going to be that much, that I'm going to start bringing in, because of your obedience to step out. I'm going to begin to bring in more clients to you, and the clients that you're going to have, you're going to need help. You're gonna need help in this season, and so now you're fixing to be the employer.
Yeah. Yeah, I take that. I really do believe so, because I think there's been times when I've panicked and I've thought, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, and there's so much to learn. But as I have gone each step with God, He's given me courage to keep going, and He's even given me a vision of perhaps having a clinic and having employees as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
Look,
Let's just
let
say
it
that.
come forth, God. Hey, and
Yeah,
the grants, may the grants begin to come to you, that you won't have to tarry as hard for grants, that people will be saying, hey, I have a grant, or I know a grant that is looking for someone in your field. So may the grants even come to you easily.
yeah, I
So
claim it.
so once you stepped out, and so you finally recorded your EP, and you had a song out titled Heaven, correct?
So my EP was released in 2016,
Okay.
and then I released an album in 2018.
Okay.
But I've had single releases since then, last year and this year. But Heaven is the most recent single that I've released.
Okay. So once it comes to the recording and just being in the studio life for you, how is that a shift for you? How is that a big shift into a new direction once you first stepped out into recording?
Yeah, it's a whole new world again, unknown territory. But during the pandemic, I had a chance to set up my own recording studio with the help of certain people that I knew in the industry. And yeah, so it gave me even more freedom to kind of just get down my ideas in a recording before them being sent off for mixing and mastering. There's been a lot to learn, let's just say that. And it's definitely different from just going on stage with a mic and singing with a live band. You have to learn so many technical things when it
Mhm.
comes to doing studio work. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying getting the sound right and getting all the harmonies together, because I sing all my harmonies. And I believe, again, it's due to the training, it's from the training that I had in choir. So I'm bringing all of those skills into this next part of my journey. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see a whole body of work come together from scratch. It's really good.
Awesome. So let's talk about heaven. What was the vision behind heaven? Like, how was it once God began to download the lyrics for heaven for you?
Yeah, it's just amazing. I went to church, and it's a new church because I've moved to a different area, and I kept feeling prompted to speak to the pastor's wife. And I kept hearing God saying, tell her that you sing, tell her that you sing. So I said, okay. So I went up and spoke to her, and she said, oh, that's amazing. Send me, a link to your songs, etc. She said, I want to pray for you. So she prayed over me, and basically I was, really seeking how far I could get with this music and who the music needed to reach. And so she prayed into my life about the music ministry, and within, I'd say, 24 hours I was starting to get inspired. And that week, despite the fact I had a very busy work schedule, I was writing and writing and writing non-stop, and Heaven, I believe, was one of the songs that came through that time. And I just remember sitting there. I was so excited. I was writing and then I was recording at the same time. I was like, okay, I can hear this, and I can, so I sang my melody and I sang some of the harmonies. And even on the way to work, I was hearing heaven. Heaven is a real place. And, I was kind of multitasking in the car. Don't do this. It's quite dangerous. But I was so excited. I didn't want to lose any of the ideas that I had. I forget to mention that there was a backing track that I'd downloaded from a website, and so that had also been the basis of the melody. But yeah, the words were just flowing and flowing, and yeah, by time the inspiration was really to do with my parents passing away. Both of my parents have now gone to be with the Lord, but they passed away within quite a close time of each other. And last year was particularly difficult, I have to admit. But for some, I just feel that the Lord was lifting my spirits through songwriting. And I kind of managed to turn what was quite a dark time for me into more of a hopeful, encouraging time.
Awesome. So it was something that also helped you with your grieving process.
Yeah, it did. It helped me with my grieving process, because I think I could then start to think of my parents no longer being in suffering and in pain, and just the whole, they're with God, and it was very comforting, because I think seeing your parents kind of not very well and in hospital, it can, play on your mind, and it was playing on my mind. And I think God just took me out of that kind of mindset, and I was able to see them at peace,
Awesome.
at long last at peace, and it gave me a lot of comfort. And Charles, who I had met 2 years ago, Charles Morrow, he's from the US, and he had wanted to collaborate with me. And we met at a international music summit that takes place over here every other year. And yeah, we started talking, and he mentioned that he'd lost his son through sickle cell complications. And so this seemed quite a perfect song to sing with him, hence why he's featured on the single.
Wow. And that's awesome. and I love how you say it gives you peace. It gives you peace with it. So I want to go back to your downloading. When you say that God is downloading, so you're writing, but you said you also was recording at the same time. So you're hearing, you're writing, and you're speaking or singing. All explain to us a little bit more about that process.
Yeah, I mean, my process is generally I start off with a hook. I can hear certain things in my head, just the odd word when it comes to a verse, but it's always a hook, and I'm thinking, okay, so I'm singing a chorus, and then that kind of generally that just flows from the heart. So that's kind of a freestyle, if you want to say, and then I'll write it down. So sometimes I'm in my car and I'm just, recording into my phone. Again, don't do that. It's dangerous. I just never want to miss the idea. So yeah, sometimes I'm writing and I'm singing the words, and I'm, just so I can get it correct, written down correctly. And then yeah, it seems to be a mixture of different things that goes on in the creative process, but thankfully the chaos becomes more it makes sense towards the end because I'm able to put everything in order.
So the week that you had the busy week and the week that heaven was downloaded, it was several songs downloaded. So once God begins to download, it's like a rapid fire for you. Like it's several things being downloaded at once.
Particularly at that time. And I'm not sure if it was, I believe it was due to the prayer that I'd had prayed over me, because, I'd never experienced that kind of creative energy before that time. And so every single week from, I'd say, the beginning of October was just me writing and writing and writing. And I just couldn't believe it. I was telling my family and friends, I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm just so inspired. And I just couldn't believe it. Even sometimes when I was singing, I sounded slightly different. It's almost like God had just enhanced my voice, my singing ability. And some of the harmonies that I was putting together, I could hear them in my head first. I knew it was God doing this. And then I'd record them and they'd sounded absolutely beautiful. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. So I know that he's doing something.
Wow. So how long before this time, like before this occurrence, how long would it normally take you to record a song or to get the full lyrics for them?
Oh, the full lyrics. For some songs, some songs can take a day. Others will take, I remember I released a song called Lift Your Hands Up over a year ago, and that took about 6 months. Mm-hmm. So even though I had the verses of the song, I knew exactly what I wanted to sing about. I knew the subject matter, but then the chorus just wasn't sitting right with me. And so that's the thing. I flip back and I think, okay, I'll try this week. And if it still doesn't sit right, then I'll leave it another week and then go back to it. So, sometimes that can happen.
What is more challenging for you, the verses or the chorus?
I think the verses. I think the verses generally. But, I think with this extra bit of anointing that God's given me suddenly, it seems to be flowing quite easily. And so it's almost like it catches me by surprise how the words just seem to to make sense. It's all, it's all kind of and the with the song beat and everything else, everything just seems to flow very, very easily now. So, but yeah, I mean, I've always found writing a hook or a chorus a lot easier than a verse.
So beyond music, what is your passion?
Oh, beyond. I like to do different things. I mean, I live near the sea, so I love to walk along the coast. You know, I find it very kind of freeing and it clears my mind. So I'm always out by the sea. I love to be active. So walking, roller skating, I'm learning to do that. Anything active is what I like to do. So yeah, you never know. By next year, I'll probably be snowboarding.
So is that kind of once a lot of your downloads kind of come is during your moments of just walking or once you're in that alone space to where you're just kind of traveling, once things begin to open up and he begins to download as well?
Sorry, I think the mic sounds a bit. Sorry, your mic is a bit crackly.
Oh, I'm sorry. So once you're walking and you're hiking and stuff, being active, like, do you get downloads during those moments as well?
Do I?
Do you have your downloads then once you're walking and stuff?
Are you saying do I have download time?
Like, once you're walking and active, is God downloading music to you?
Oh, does God? Oh, yeah, God downloads anytime, anywhere, any place. I've been in the kitchen, and I've suddenly the other day I had a Christmas tune or Christmas beat that I was listening to while I was washing the dishes, and suddenly, I was just flowing with this tune. I was thinking, oh, that sounds good. So I got my phone out again. You know, I've had songs come to me at a bus stop while I'm waiting for a bus. It can happen anywhere.
Awesome. So what is next for you?
So yeah, it's just performing. So I'll be performing this coming Sunday at a restaurant. There's a kind of like a gospel event going on there, and then yeah, there'll be some kind of online things that I'll be doing. But yeah, going forward, just finishing my album, and then I'll be out performing the songs from that.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for you and everything that God is doing in your life. So if people want to, let me do this. What would you say to those that they are in a place where they're feeling restless, or they feel like, you know, I need to push, or I need to go to that next level. They're feeling that uncomfortableness, and but they just don't know where to start, how to get to that next level. What would you say to them?
Always put it in prayer, or put everything in prayer. Put your doubts, put your fears, put your desires to God, and you know, and just let him lead. If you need an extra bit of encouragement or confirmation, ask for that, because God does confirm things in an awesome way, the most unexpected of ways at times. Ask for other people to pray with you, and read the Bible, you know, because revelation can come from various places. But yeah, just be prayerful. And if you do believe that this is what God wants and you're a little bit scared, do it anyway. Do it scared.
Yeah. That's big. Do it scared. And I think a lot of times we are controlled by fear, and we allow our fear to control us versus allowing our faith to lead us. And so our fear will end up hindering us more so of letting our faith lead us and guide us on a thing. And once you're around certain people, if they speak to your fear, they'll keep you stuck. But versus someone that speaks your faith language and speaking to your faith, then they'll be able to push you and just say, no, this is where you should be going. This is how you should, you know what? I hear that. I believe that for you. I believe it for your own business. Instead of saying, so why are you stepping out? And are you sure you want to do that? And it's going to take a lot of work. And can you do that? Somebody is just going to say, you know what? Don't worry about it. I trust God. I believe God for you. And I'm praying with you and wanting to know how exactly can they pray, intercede, and help you. So you have to also, once you're in those situations, to be mindful of the voices that are in your ear during that time, and make sure that you're surrounded by people that are going to speak your faith language and not your fear language. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly what you said. I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Well, how can people reach out to you, get and listen to your music that you have out, and just get to know a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so they can, anyone can find me on Instagram at Priscilla Bailey Music. You can find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com Priscilla Bailey Music, and Twitter, Priscilla B Music. I do have a website. I'm not sure if you can access it from the US, but it's www.priscillabailey.co.uk.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming out. It's been a joy sitting and talking with you, and looking forward to more downloads of what God is about to download you and how you. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, sometimes I just can't even catch my breath. It's just how many things are coming into my mind. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what God's doing at the moment. So yeah, awesome. Check out my music.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for the interview.
Awesome. Thank you. Listen, if you are someone that are in business, again, I want to extend the invitation to you for you to come on the show. I would love to sit and talk with you, figure out what it is that you're doing, figure out how you're spreading the gospel, or how you're allowing God to use you. Just like Priscilla, let me tell you, she was obedient once God told her to move. So if God is telling you to move, if God is telling you to shift, do it scared. That's what she said earlier in the interview, is that sometimes you just have to do it scared. So even if you're doing it scared, do it. And as you can see, he will continue to bless you as he's blessing her. So I'm pretty sure that the same God that has been blessing Priscilla is going to bless you as well. So if you want to be part of the show, come on, go to my website, www.ferventlycreations.com. If you want to support or be a blessing to the show, you can go to $Tish0621. So with that being said, I thank you all for attending. And as we always say, make sure you reach out, make sure you connect, find her on social media, follow her, like, share whenever you see anything out, and download the songs, pay for the songs, right? And so, as we always say, networking is not about just connecting people. It's about connecting people with people with ideas, and people with opportunities. And we will see you next.
My team rap Jesus. We about to go far. My team rap Jesus. My team go hard. My team rap Jesus. We about to go far. We about to go